So today I'm going to continue with my Galaxy Eye owl, so watch me paint. So here I had already created the sketch and am applying a wash after I had done the base of the Galaxy Eyes, which is indigo with magenta. I had done a water wash and then I added indigo on the sides of the eye and magenta in the middle, while leaving white without water as the reflection. And here I am just applying the brownish reddish underpainting, and I'm removing some of it with my brush. I first wet it and dry it mildly so it's just a bit moist, and that way when the paint is still wet you are able to remove some of it. Here I'm adding a lighter wash of the same color, and now I'm going to the bottom area. First I'm applying water, as you can see, and it needs to be a fairly even application of the water. I'm trying to avoid the branches and the bottom part of the owl. And it can be a very slow process. Here, of course, it's sped up because I'm using a big brush. I believe it's a number 16 round brush to apply the water. And afterwards, when all the water is applied, I quickly add the colors. All these, again, are Ecoline. I'm using a blue and the darker green that I have. I will list down below all the paints and numbers so you guys can go check that out. And then I'm adding a splash of yellow, and I just love to see how the yellow starts crawling into the green and the green into the blue. I just love it. Since I'm impatient, I have to grab my hair dryer and start drying it. And it was kind of funny to see how the water was trying to escape the blow of the hair dryer, but over to the left, that section was just beautiful, how it was just drying off and the effect that it causes. Because the reason why I do this is so that pooling doesn't happen and you don't see these lines of where the water sat longer on the page, and also so that I can continue in one sitting to paint. So after I have completely dried it, which took a few minutes of going back and forth, and here I'm just using a cheap little hair dryer. I mean, this one, I don't even remember how much it cost, but it was really, really cheap. I'm just drying off the parts that fell off over the border of the block. And now I am going to continue creating the leaves from the background. As you can see there, you can see the reference photo of it. And I'm just contemplating, what tonality shall I start first and where? And I decide to start again with the owl before I go to the leaves. So I add another darker layer of the same color, and I add in some of the detail. I had already done a lot of the groundwork for the owl. I jumped ahead, and I had done an abstract background with different tonalities of greens and yellows and yellow, greens and blues to create leaves. And I'm just going in and I'm doing all the fine work of the feathers and the different tonalities. And this is a back and forth. I go between brown and gray and black and yellow and blue, because some of the shadows is blue tonality. And it's just a constant back and forth of adding some, taking some away, going and adding more over here. You really need to just really focus on your reference photo. Really pay attention to it. That's why I love using my phone, because I can magnify into certain areas, look at the slight differences that appear that at just a quick glance you are not going to perceive. You really need to take your time. Just look at a picture. At first, you're not going to really understand where the shadow ends, where the light starts. The texture is also very important, especially here with feathers, that all the feathers, some of them are going in the same direction, but then they have these little hairs that start peeking out left and right. So the best thing to do is when you're doing an animal or a person is to do the base and then just leave it and maybe come back in a little bit. And sometimes also what I do is I'll take a picture of it with my phone and I'll just compare it. I'll look at it side by side with the reference photo, or even just as a photo of itself. And you can see some of the mistakes or some of the areas that are still lacking. And the nice thing with watercolors is that you can always go back and add more layers on top of it. So here I am just adding more shadows near the beak, and that took quite a long time to create the right intensity of darkness and brightness. I really wanted the beak to pop out and not be hidden within the feathers and just be blended. I wanted that effect. So it's, you know, with watercolors, it's just going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Yeah. this part, I am adding the white details of the eyes and highlighting the rims of the feathers that are being hit by the light, and all the little hairs or pieces of the feather that are sticking out and are being hit by the rays of light. And then also the bottom part and the branch that is not all one color. Obviously, there are some parts of the bark that are lighter, some that are darker. So I'm using this gel white pen, the Uni white pen, to create all those highlights. So I really appreciate you guys watching this video. I didn't want to talk throughout the whole thing. That's why I came back and forth to let you know what I was doing in this part of the process. And I would really love to hear from you guys. What projects are you creating? What parts do you find the most difficult? How do you approach it? What is your process? And during the whole time that I was painting this owl, it was very therapeutic. I completely relaxed and let go. It's very difficult for me to stop thinking, but I am able to do that, not during the whole process, but there are many moments when I find myself that I'm just completely thoughtless. I'm just completely present in the moment when I am painting, and it is just so relaxing. So again, thank you so much for watching my video. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you want to see, what your thoughts are. Have a great day. Bye.